Okay, this video is on Melbourne Storm. It's going to be short and quick. They won the comp last year and the minor premiership, which is almost impossible to do. I can't think of any other side that has won both in the same year. But it's going to be harder for them this year to defend their grand final. They've lost Cronk. They've got Cameron Munster in that position, but they've lost Cooper Cronk to the Roosters, their key rivals in Sydney. I think the teams that have recruited well, so the Roosters, the Broncos, Parramatta. In fact, I think every side in the comp has got some really good signings and good players. It's just about how they gel. I don't think the Storm have got as much depth as, let's say, a Canterbury. They still have good depth, and they do produce talented players year in, year out. Look at Cameron Munster. He was called up because Billy Slater was injured a couple of years ago. He's now a mainstay in the side. It's now very hard to leave him out. And he's been consistent. He has the odd mistake in him. I think every player has that. So that's going to be an issue, is when experienced players go, how Melbourne deal with it. But they've been very good with recruitment in the last, since the day they were conceived. They've been great in their history of recruiting and developing players. Hope that continues. So they're a well-run team. The fact they could not sign Mitchell Pearce says to me they're one of two things. Either they're very happy with Cameron Munster and the other youth prospects coming through, that they don't need to pinch players from other clubs for big money, or they're exceptionally close to the cap, or both. And I'm going for they're close to the cap and they're happy with their recruitment and their development process of players. They're not going to win the comp this year in my eyes. I think that's probably a split between the Roosters and Parramatta. I really, really do. They are going to be in the finals, and they're going to be in the final four. And they're going to be in the top four in the minor premiership. But I see it's harder this time round, doing what they did last year. I don't see a repeat of both. They could be minor premiers again, but or they could win the grand final, but they can't do both. The side now, the main core is quite aged. They're very experienced and they're very talented, but they are quite aged. One or two injuries could be derailing, because outside of the forward pack and some back positions where they've got a lot of depth, Cameron Smith has dominated that hooker position for over 12 years. Billy Slater, apart from the last 2 years where Munster's been a revelation, has dominated that fullback position for a similar amount of time. So it's very, very hard for those players who haven't had the first grade experience of more than a few games a season when Origin is on to showcase their skills. Saying that, Smith and Slater won't be playing Origin this season, so there is a good chance that they're going to be around the team during that Origin period where the team normally loses a few games. On that same token, it also depends on how Melbourne start this season, because they're not going to win every game, not at all. And losing Cronk, and Cameron Munster is a brilliant player. He's still developing his game. He's better at fullback, and that's my personal opinion, but he can play in the halves and he can do reasonably well. He's not a Cronk. He's a 6, not a 7 as well. So getting the halves right and continuing to develop the youth is very important. And they've been doing it for years, but they have to continue to do it. At some point, this side will have to be significantly rebuilt. Significantly. Look at Newcastle. Newcastle is an example of a team that won the comp and were competitive for a few years and then just dropped off like a stone. And it's taken them a very long time to start looking competitive again. And last season showed that they are now on the up. I don't think they'll stay at the bottom. I think they'll be higher up. They could be the surprise package. They might, if they make the top 8. I won't be surprised, but I'll be slightly, amazed. But it's not impossible. And I do think it's going to be so hard for Melbourne to defend what they did last year, both the minor premiership title and then the grand final title, winning overall, because every other team looks stronger. I think the only team that looks weak is probably Gold Coast. Every other side looks exceptionally strong. Look at Canterbury, look at the depth they now have. Parramatta have finally stabilised themselves on and off the pitch. I think Jared Hayne that's going to be the joker in the pack. And you look at every other side, they all just look balanced. Good blends of youth and experience in the right positions, and I think this is the most difficult season to predict. I think it's going to be the closest it's ever been. I really, really do. I think the gap between first and last is going to be a lot closer than last year. It's going to be a lot closer than I think any other year, and I think it's going to be very, very hard to get in the top 8. And Melbourne, in theory, could miss out by a few points, or they could get in by a few points if they have a wobbly season. I mean, all they've got to lose is a few games, and they're 9 in the top 4. They're in 8th to 5th, and that's where you do not want to be. You want to be in the top 4, and all it takes is 1 or 2 losses, or a draw, and you slip out the top 4 and you're in 5th. And they've been consistently top 4, and it takes 1 or 2 bad results or a slight little wobble, and that's where you end up. I still see them making the top 8, and I still see them making finals football, but it's going to be harder for them to do it, and it's going to be harder for teams to keep consistency going. The thing is, Melbourne have had the same coach for years. They've been well run since their inception, and they've developed talent like just a conveyor belt for near on 20 years. So in that respect, they have stability. It's whether they can continue over the next several years doing so when certain players such as Smith and Slater retire. Karonka said he's going to do at least 2 years at the Roosters, and that's the team I think actually could be favourites. But we shall see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll have some more videos for you tomorrow.